So needless to say, after the draft in the last episode went just a little bit longer than expected, we are behind schedule, which means we are getting right down to business in today's episode. We're going through the offseason, getting this team set up for yet another season. Of course, I'm not expecting there to be playoff hockey at the end of the season, but that is okay. We still have to be a little bit smart about the moves that we make here. And then, of course, there's also the question of whether or not we'll be able to move certain players and really who we should bring back in the first place. I still want to sim through the next season as well. We'll see if that ends up happening. So getting right down to business here as we take a look at the goaltending situation. Pekka Rinne is a UFA, as is Joonas Korpisalo. And while it might make sense to bring them back, it doesn't make sense to do so immediately. My thought here, we let go of Rinne, we let go of Korpisalo, we sign, I can't pronounce his name, please tell me your first name, something easier. Kari, we signed Kari, even though he's a medium backup, and we hope that there is another strong Finnish prospect on the free agent market. If not, we'll probably go back in for Pekka Rinne, but we do have Antti Raanta signed for the next 3 years. He's not going anywhere. It does make sense to clear out just a little bit of space, sign this prospect here. Even if he doesn't end up being the greatest, we are probably going to have to rely on backup and starter, medium fringe or medium starter potential goalies, more so than medium elites and medium franchise as we normally do, or at the very least, as we do if there are no limitations. That said, of course, we do have a medium elite goaltender. So that's fairly straightforward. Defensively, it's also pretty straightforward as far as what we are going to look to do here. Now, in terms of spinning the wheel on entry-level deals, or even when someone's an RFA, not entirely sure what the ruling is going to be there. At the very least, though, when we look at the defense core that we have here, the only guy that I'd really consider trading at this point right now anyway is Nokalainen, and that's only because I'd be concerned about his lack of development at this point, where he really hasn't jumped up. That said, he's still not a bad third pairing player, so I can't help but think it's the right move to keep him anyway. He's not even looking for that much money. I'll actually sign him to that, and maybe we'll revisit whether or not we want to keep him or not in the future, and maybe there'll be a wheel spin at that point in time. For now, though, it makes no sense to get rid of him. The rest of these guys here are going to be hitting the open market. We're going to be double checking, of course, whether or not there are any other better available players once we do get to free agency, and then obviously the guys who are 26 and up will absolutely be on the way out for now. That continued overhaul that we will be seeing from season to season. Mikko Kokkonen, though, will be signed. We picked him up in the 5th round of the year 1 draft. A decent little pickup for us at the time. Toskala being a 68 is probably worth playing him in the AHL this upcoming year, I got to admit. And Niskala also has to be signed as well. So there is a decent chance of me signing those two. I know Niskala is only a medium 7th, but I'm still going to sign him for now. We might as well, and we'll see what happens from there. But good chance that we end up signing somebody because they'd probably benefit a little bit more from AHL time rather than just sitting there. Meiskanen, he is going to be on the way out. Ikonen going to be on the way out, and in fairness, I can just leave these guys as they are. Of course, they'll end up leaving. Anyway, Hannakainen, Salamaki, I think we'll be letting everybody here go with the exception of Sorella. End up bringing him back. And Ordio at a low 9. We'll leave him on the outs as well. Puistola, though, we'll give him an opportunity. At center, Filppula, Koivu. Again, I think I'm going to let both of them go for now. I want to see what's out there. And keeping them, that's not going to be the difference between us being a playoff team and not. Again, we're probably not going to be regardless. So the only other guy here to sign is Nikkanen. And aside from that, we're good to go. So we'll take a look primarily at what the free agent list is shaping up to be. I'm going to have to double check scouts, I believe, as well. I always forget to. Everybody has accepted. Beautiful. And actually, let me double check scouts because I have a feeling that I would have forgotten to re-sign some people. I normally do. Did I not? Aha! There are 2 of them. I knew it. Beautiful. Look at that. I remembered for once. Lovely. Lovely, lovely stuff. Good job. Good job, me. So to free agency we go. And we'll see who's here. Of course, I'm going to have to fill out the roster again as I normally do. We'll probably jump cut it at that point, as we won't be signing anybody of extreme importance. But fingers crossed, there's a player that we can bring on board here that will really help us out. Hopefully. Yes. Yes, please. Yes. That is what I like to see. We have some options. I don't know how Nudivara made it up to an 85. Don't care. Ekholm's also there. Beautiful. Beautiful. In fairness, Ekholm's is sweet. I was like, wait a minute, Ekholm, you're not finished. Doesn't matter. Goaltending-wise, though, we still have Rene. What about prospects? Anybody? The answer there is no. That's okay. Although, if there's a high fringe... No, is there a medium fringe? That makes sense. Vienni Vevalainen is an RFA. I mean, that's not the worst case scenario. The odds of him being half decent, he'd be good enough to be the backup, essentially. So I guess that's really the option right now, is do I want to bring back Pekka Rinne and have an opportunity to trade him for assets if things go poorly, or do I bring in Vevalainen? And in fairness, we have only 4 goaltenders signed. If we have 5, that's a bit of an issue. Of course, 6 is the max. So let's take a look here at what that situation is. We have $62 million to spend. Yeah, we can only sign 1. It's going to be Rinne. Hopefully we get him. If not, we'll go for Vevalainen, who, even though he is an RFA, I could probably pay him enough to have Buffalo pass on keeping him. At least I think he'd be with Buffalo at this point. So, Rinne, buddy, how would you like to sign? A lot of teams are interested. And I gotta be honest, giving you a 2-year deal, I don't really like it. So I'm gonna go with a 1-year deal. The big issue here, though, is we have all the money in the world to spend, but the more money I give him, the less value that contract is going to have because of his age. Doesn't matter what his overall is. You would have seen what his trade value was at the draft. So I'm thinking 1 year, 4.5. And we'll see if Rinne signs that. Hopefully he does. If not, we'll go after Vienni Vevalainen. Defensively, pretty straightforward what we're going to do, but I do want to take a look at prospects, and we don't have anybody available there. And the medium 6s, I don't really think I'm going to be too worried about anybody. And I don't think we have anybody available to us. So it's pretty straightforward what we're going to be looking to do here. Rasmus Ristolainen, we're going all in. He only wants a 4-year deal. I would love to give him a 7-year deal, though, just to get the max. But I'm going to go 4 years at 6.5 for Oh, man, I can't afford to miss out. I'm going to go 7x4. I'm going to go 7x4 just to make sure that we get him. And then, of course, we'll do a wheel spin as to whether or not I'm allowed to trade him. Of course, there is the debate. I know some people are still like, just spin the wheel. If you want to trade him, spin the wheel, yes or no. And if it's no, then you move on. Again, I kind of like the idea of just being like, nope, this is it. You cannot trade him at all. Just finding out early enough. Because then I can base the rest of my decisions off of that. We're also going in for Nudivara. Now, here's the deal with him. I guarantee his overall is due to the morale system. Now, the morale system is still in, even if you turn it off. That's why some goalies go from like an 82 to an 89 in one season. It's still possible. That said, he is still worth signing. Absolutely. He wants 6 years, too, which is crazy. You'd think he'd be the one asking for 4 and Risto would be the one asking for 6 or 7, but okay. Because of that, it's a really risky contract. A really, really risky contract to give him 6 years, especially if we're not able to trade it. This could be a contract that absolutely comes back to haunt me. 6x6? I really want to make sure that we get him, though. I don't want to overpay too much, and 6x6 is already an overpayment, but man, he would help out so much. I gotta go for it. We need that help. I want to win as soon as possible, by the way. It's not a full, like, oh yeah, we're rebuilding draft glory stuff. No, I want to win. And Nudivara might be able to help get us there. I just don't know if... I'm going to spend a little bit more. I'm going to risk it. 625 by 6. We'll see if that's enough. And I do not believe that we have anybody else there available that we're going to be concerned about. So forward-wise, we don't have anybody. Gusev, of course, is Russian. Yeah, I mean, Armia is finally there, and I don't think I'll forget about him this time, finally. I should go see if Chris Gibson's available. Let's go 1 year at I'm going to go 2.25, just to make sure that we get him. Since it's the 1 year deal, 50-50 chance of being able to trade him, it's not that bad. I wish we had some other options. I'm going to try to bring back Flipper as well. He wants a 1 year deal, and we'll bump that up to about 1.8. That'll really diminish the value that he has, but still, he's obviously going to be an extreme help to us. And a little bit of value, even if I could only get like a fourth for him. Mikko Koivu. Oof, wow, he's still wanting to get paid. Let's go 2.5. And again, we're going to have all the money in the world to spend here. Some veteran is going to be getting quite the payday. Aberg is Swedish, right? Yeah, he is. McGinn. Okay, I don't think we have anybody else that we have to worry about in terms of a big name player that could help us right now. But in terms of potential, do we have anybody? I don't think so outside of Aaltonen, who I'm still probably going to go for. Kachuk, Bittner, Brooks, McInnes, Bastian. Yeah, Levi Aaltonen, a 6th round pick of the Hurricanes. We will go for. I'm going to hand him the max ELC offer to try and help our chances. And for the medium potentials, do we have anybody? It's not looking too good. Yeah, I don't think we have anybody here, unfortunately. That's okay. We're still doing good, all things considered. So 7 contract offers are out. All of them are fairly big deals. Let's see what happens here. Are we bringing in any game changers? So Aaltonen has signed. Again, I don't plan on trading him anywhere anyway. Let's see who else. Koivu has signed. It was a 1 year contract for Koivu, and I think that we will spin the wheel immediately too for Koivu. So fairly straightforward. It's going to be a yes or no question as to whether or not we are allowed to trade one Mikko Koivu. Will we be allowed to? Yes, we will. Sweet. So worst comes to worst, Mikko Koivu will be traded this year if we need to trade him. Armia has also signed. So let's take a look here. Spin that wheel one more time. Are we going to be allowed to trade Armia? No, we are not. Okay, so Armia will be staying. Koivu is sellable, though. Next up is Filppula. That was also a 1 year deal. So we'll go right back. Are we allowed to trade Flipper? No, we are not. Okay, so just Koivu so far. Boy, 50-50 chances, and I just don't have any luck. Don't even know what to say to that. Next up, Risto has signed. I will be taking a look at his contract again in a second. Actually, it was 6 years. It was 4 years. That's still so weird how that worked out, right? So Koivu, we will be allowed to trade. Of course, Ranta is not going anywhere for the entirety of his contract. I gotta actually mark this down. We can trade Koivu, which is nice. Risto, good old Risto, was a 4 year deal. I'm just gonna go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it lands on a 1, in fairness, it needs to be a 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's what we're doing, right? If it lands on a 0, I am allowed to trade Rasmus Ristolainen immediately. I won't, but I could. If it lands on a 1, we have to be loyal to him for at least the first season. If it lands on a 2, he stays here for at least 2 years, 3 years. If it lands on a 4, I'm not trading Risto at all. So fingers crossed, even though I don't plan on trading him, it lands on a very, very low number, and that's not too bad. Rasmus Ristolainen will be here for 2 seasons at the very, very least. So Risto, look forward to having you here. Nudivara has also accepted, which again, this is the contract that could really, really come back to haunt me. So let's see what we have. Nudivara, how long will you be here? Woof. 4 years. 4 years of the 6 is what we're going to say is how long Nudivara's no movement clause is in effect. So that's going to be rough. So again, right now, if you look at this roster, in terms of who we can trade, it's pretty much just Mikko Koivu. Risto will be here for 2 years. Nudivara will be here for 4. Ranta will still be here for the other 3 years of his deal. Pekka Rinne has also signed. We handed him that 1-year contract. So let's go ahead and readjust this. 50-50. Am I trading Rinne this year? Am I allowed to trade Rinne this year? Or will he be staying? And it's looking like he is allowed to be traded. Okay. All right, we're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. In terms of these negotiations, we will say, I am allowed to flip Koivu and Rinne. And with that, we should be pretty much done in terms of these contract negotiations. So I'm all right with that. Right? Overall, the team's going to be looking a hell of a lot better. Goaltending-wise as well, we're up to the 6, which is nice. Of course, we have a couple of prospects who, they'll be up there in due time. So again, Rinne will be here for 3 more years. Ranta will be here for 3 more years. Rinne, we are allowed to trade, so that is potentially a 2nd-round pick. That would be quite helpful. We are allowed to flip him, which is great. Of course, we'll be kind and try to flip him to a contender, a team that wants him. And we're not just going to flip him to the team that's lowest on the list, right? I'm going to be kind of cheap about it, but not overly cheap about it. Aristo will be here for at least 2 years. Nudivara will be here for, at the very least, the next 4 years. And again, I don't plan on trading Nokalainen with this contract, so I don't think we have to worry about that. And then forward-wise, of course, Kakko and Simon Taval, they are not going anywhere. And in terms of some of the big names, Filppula will be here for the entirety of his he'll be here for the year. He'll be here for the entirety of his contract. Armia is not going anywhere, but we are allowed to flip Koivu as well. So hopefully we'll be able to send him to a contender and get something back for it. I will talk to you guys at the beginning of the preseason. I need to fill out this roster. And in fairness, no, I don't, really. No, I don't. I just have to sign like 2 guys to a max contract, and we should be fine. I think we're good to stay alive at this point. We have enough people signed. So what Finnish veteran wants a big-time contract? Salmonsson. Obviously you're Swedish, but still. Please? Can we just get a Finn? Thank you. Auntie, congratulations. You are about to be a very rich man. A very, very, very rich man. And we have $44 million in cap space. Let's sign 1 forward and 1 defender. It's going to be Mikko Kuka coming on back. I don't even need the confirmation. Pretty sure he's Finnish with a name like that, right? Right. So we are good. We'll sign those 2. And we move on to the start of the season. I'll still probably double check what players are worth signing as far as, having them play in an AHL capacity. We still have to look at that. And I'm really going to base it off of the type of progression that we see over the post or off season, I should say. But overall, we're looking okay. I like the way this team is moving along. I am very much afraid of that Nudivara contract. Being stuck with that over the course of the next 4 years is a massive risk, but it does give us somebody, and it's not going. It gives us someone to use in terms of those top minutes without, I'd say, overly damaging our ability to finish in a bottom 5 spot. And as it is, we've been the worst team in the league, and we've had terrible luck in terms of ending up with that number 1 overall pick. So what's the point anyway to be like, let's make sure we finish dead last. We might as well do as well as we can because our lottery luck's going to be terrible anyway, and I feel as though we have just as good of a chance of winning it from being 26th as opposed to 32nd. So we'll see what happens this year. Is it just me, or does it feel like this is taking a little bit longer to get there than it normally does? I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm playing something like 2K10 lately on stream, and I'm able to sim through 5 seasons in like 10 minutes, and it's very, very nice. I don't know. Oh my God, EA, please. Please? You're not going to make me jump cut this, are you? Thank God. Goodness gracious. Anyway, let's see what we have, first and foremost, with the prospects that could be signed. Goalie-wise, obviously, neither of those two are being signed. Defensively, Toskala is absolutely being signed. I think, as are the others, the other three. More than likely, it depends on who we have in the system, I suppose. Let's go double-check. Let's go double-check. But I think there's no denying those guys would benefit from playing in the AHL this year. It's just whether or not we really have the space as to where it makes sense. So Ranta and Rinne. Ranta will be the starter this year. We, of course, have a couple of goalie prospects. I'll be intrigued to see actually who ends up starting there. Defensively, we're looking, we're looking. I don't know if we're looking okay or not, but we're looking. It's going to be Renainen that stays, and I think the other two will be sent down. That's our 6 right there. Is it the greatest? Not at all. We'll take a better look at it in a moment. But the big thing here now is defensively, what do we have with these potentials? So Heinola going nowhere. He needs to start. Vainio's a medium 7th. Honka needs to start. Piernes needs to start. Kuokkanen needs to start. A medium 7th, and then Kuka. So really, I have 2 spots. I have 2 spots on the defensive side down in the AHL where, and in fairness, maybe just 1 if I wanted to make sure I started that medium 7th. So maybe we'll just sign 1. But there's space. There is space for at least one of these guys here. Toskala. Or I can just wait. You know what? I think I'm just going to wait. And we'll play who we already have there. Again, there is that debate. Of course, players can progress at a great rate while unsigned, but there is also, once you get players to that 67, and up overall range, there is that debate over whether or not whether or not they'd benefit more from playing at the AHL level as opposed to being unsigned. That said, 10, 11, and 12. So Nordgren needs to go down. Jokinen is on the way up. I have to sign some forwards at the very least. But overall, we're looking okay. I'm just going to say okay. Maybe I could have brought back a couple of other veterans who were like 76s or whatever, but it really wouldn't have helped the situation all that much. Did not mean to go to the free agent list. That one's on me. That was just more pure instinct other than, more than, rather than anything else. So forward-wise, unsigned, oh boy. You know what? It doesn't help, but they are both going to be signed. Why not? They should at least be signed, give them a chance, see what they can do. And I think that's, oh boy, we're actually going to be short on the amount of players that we are allowed to sign. So let's see. Or not we're allowed to sign, but that we're allowed to play. Ideally, I'd have one more forward. We might play a defenseman there, just to give him a little bit of time. That way, I think everybody we have under contract in the AHL is good to go. So, one more look here. Goalie-wise, 2 medium fringes with Makiniemi and Annunen. Justice. And Russo, unfortunately, will be sitting out. So those will be the 2 goaltenders this year. Not a bad little tandem. Defensively, again, we're fine. We have 1 scratch in Kuka. That's it. Not bad. And again, he might be playing as a forward for the memes. We'll have it be based off of overall, actually. That's fine, rather than worrying about potentials. And obviously, Emil here is not allowed to play. He is. The rules isn't, the rule isn't exactly, make sure that everyone is finished, but it could be a pain in the ass for the AHL. But outside of that move, I believe we are good to go, and we are. So Kuka, congratulations. And I think I'm just going to leave it based on how it is with best lines. So guys like Koivunen will have a decent opportunity. The main prospects that we are worrying about are on the defensive side. But Mika Tuomainen, we'll see how he ends up doing this year. Starting off at a 65, if he can make it up to a 68 or even a 70, that would be amazing. That brings us to the NHL forwards. And honestly, it's not great, but we're doing what we can. I'm going to play Simon Taival as the top center next to Kakko and Armia. We'll go Manalainen with Koivu and Repo, Jokinen, Filppula, and Nurmi, Pala, Kasila, and Virta. Not too bad, I guess. Ish. And then defensively, obviously, Nunivara and Ristolainen is amazing. Nokalainen's up to an 81, which is tremendous news. And then again, the goaltending, we will see what we can flip Rene for come deadline time, because obviously we're still not really going to be in contention, but that's okay. Let's see how we do this year. I'm excited. I am very, very much excited. So let's see how this goes. Nothing to do aside from sit back and wait to see what happens with this squad. I think captains were already set. I still don't know if we've named captains. I don't even know if we should. Ristolainen's going to be here for 2 years, and then let's be honest, there's a decent chance we're going to end up flipping him. It's probably just going to be Kakko that ends up being the captain. More than likely. At least. Right? Yeah. Probably. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. 2-1-1 now. 3-1-1 through the preseason. Promising. Relatively promising, at least. Koivu and Rene, though, being the two that I am allowed to trade immediately. It's interesting. And at the very least, we have some improved players on our team. We finally sign Armia, which is nice. Now I don't have to hear about that. And again, at some point, I will have to sign Chris Gibson. I will have to sign Gibson. There's no reason as to why I wouldn't. Why would I ever possibly not sign Chris Gibson? You kidding me? I would never not sign Chris Gibson. I swear. Anyway. 2-2-1 through the season. The Helsinki Hawks struggling just a little bit, which is honestly a bit disappointing. I think technically, the roster is somewhat weaker than it was last year, but the goaltending's still okay, right? Yeah, we have that going for us, at the very least. How many times can I say, at the very least? I don't know what to tell you. It's just a go-to. I could totally jump cut this right now, right? But where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in jump cutting it? As we beat San Jose 8-7. We have a .500 record. You wouldn't have known that. I would have had to go back and tell you. And by the time I got to the end of the season, I totally would have forgotten. It's the journey. We also get to watch the Hawks just absolutely suck. 3-13 on the year. We get an offer that involves Tanner Pearson, who's not a Penguin anymore. But Eric Goodbranson is... Oh, God. This is actually the first video I'm recording since Deadline Day. Where, again, if you didn't see the video I put out about Deadline Day, I talked about it there. We streamed from 8 a.m. Eastern to about 4:30 p.m. Eastern to just cover everything. I was live for the entirety of Deadline Day, and man, those first few hours, really the first 6 hours of that 8-hour stream, that was tough to get through when there was so little to talk about. Every once in a while, we would get something, just a little bit to discuss, and then just a whole bunch of nothing. So if anything, I feel like I'm still recovering from that, and people have been like, man, you need to do a 24-hour stream. An 8-hour stream kicked my ass. So a 24-hour stream, there'll have to be a damn good reason for it, mainly tied to charity, I'm quite sure. Regardless, we are still hanging in there at a near 500 record. The Hawks are still terrible and somehow haven't lost in overtime just yet. And I'm intrigued to see what the stats are looking like. More than likely as of January 1st. I think we'll stop there and see what we're dealing with. Because I have a feeling, making a few tweaks might help, probably won't. But you never know. It could. And that's the point that I'm trying to get to at some point. Although we are on a pretty bad run of form. Now down to 15, 20, and 1. Let's go see what the stats are looking like if this ever wants to stop. Thank you very much. Let's see what we are currently looking at. Kako, 27 points in 36 games. Not bad. Still dead last in the division, though, which is to be expected, I would say. Simon Taval, again, at 81. Koivu dropped again, which is rough. Goaltending-wise, he's doing so well. But in terms of value, woof. We are not going to be able to get back much for Koivu and Rinne at this point. There is just no way. That is not going to happen, unfortunately. I know I'm breezing through these kind of quickly, but the numbers are about as low as you would have expected. Risto only having 12 points. That hurts a lot, actually. But overall, still, to be close enough to a 500 record at this point in the season, we're probably overperforming if you really think about it. I mean, our defense, we have one or two players in the mix where it's like, okay, you're kind of not regular NHL caliber. And on the offensive side of things, we absolutely have players that are, not NHL caliber. But don't tell them that, because I don't want them to feel like they don't belong. They do, damn it. Maybe they don't. They very much don't. But it's okay. Slow and steady is, well, actually, really, in fairness, it's not even that slow of a process. We've done well for ourselves in just a few short seasons to add some strong assets through the draft, through free agency, and whether or not we get to the draft in this episode, it's looking like that might be a bit of a stretch, but we're more than likely not going to be a playoff team unless some miracle happens. So it will be intriguing as to whether or not we end up with a little bit of lottery luck. That said, we are probably towards the bottom half of the standings, really the bottom half of the bottom half of the standings. I would expect this to be somewhere between 32nd in the NHL and 26th, 27th at best, with 18 wins at this point. Maybe other teams are struggling. I don't want Tanner Pearson. Leave me alone. I really do need to turn off the whole trade, the whole trade notification setup, because again, how often, if it's, hey, I'm looking for a player, how often is an AIGM actually going to offer me a Finnish player? The odds are very, very slim. The only way the trade block makes sense in this series is if I'm trying to shop Koivu or a Rinne for draft picks. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to look for the deal myself, because it makes a hell of a lot more sense to do it that way, because I also might be able to get some prospects out of the deal instead. You see the point. 21 wins, though, on the year. The Nudivara and Ristolainen effect, apparently. We're a little bit over 2 weeks out from the deadline. Bo Starrett is not Finnish. Shocking. I know. But Bo Starrett is not finished, so we will not be claiming him. 21, 33, and 2. Oh, yeah, we're definitely still a bottom 5 team. We are absolutely a bottom 5 team. How could we not be? Ottawa had 22 wins, though. Make it 23 now, though, because they beat us. We got to be a bottom 5 team, but it's not by that much. Funny enough, if we can add to the forward core, the defensive core is coming along. Rant is still going to be a half-decent goalie for us in net, even though he's struggling this year. If we can just prop up this forward core, we're going to be a playoff team sooner rather than later. And of course, that is the risk that I wanted with a series like this. When it comes to signing a player like Ristolainen, if I'm not allowed to, pretty much immediately flip him for assets, he's going to make us a little bit better than maybe we wanted to be. But I couldn't possibly say no in trying to sign him. So he's going to make us a little bit better than we probably want to be, and that can screw us out of some higher-end draft picks. But again, so would the lottery. I don't want Connor Brown. Leave me alone. What I do want to do is sim directly to deadline day, which in this game is just another day. Of course, there's nothing special. Can we beat Boston, please? Or not? I don't know if I'm rooting for us to succeed or not at this point. What is taking so long? Thank you. 4-2. So 24 wins, was it? Indeed it was. 51 points with 19 games to go this season. Where are we? Did I hit the wrong button? I totally did. Where are we in the grand scheme of things? Kakko's a 90. I don't want to waste too much of his career. In the grand scheme of things, we are second to last. We are tied in points with Los Angeles. Right. So like I expected, we're still bottom 5. Not too bad. It's weird, though. It's weird to not be upset about that. We expected it, of course. But I'm kind of surprised there isn't a team that's worse. So what I'm going to do... Oh, God. Koivu's down to a 78. Oh, Mikko, your career's up, isn't it? It is up. You are over and done with, sir. Do you have any trade value whatsoever? I'm allowed to trade him, but good Lord, I don't think we're getting anything back. Yeah, he has no value anymore whatsoever. He and Filppula both just plummeted. He might as well stay. I can't get anything back for him. And then goaltending-wise, we might be able to get something for Rinne, but it's so unlikely. A team like Buffalo's interested. They're a winning team. They do need a backup goaltender. I know they have Johansson, but still, technically, they could use a 5th goaltender. So, Buffalo... I mean, a first-rounder isn't going to happen, but a second-round pick next year might. I'm okay with that. Buffalo gets a goalie that they need, a more secure backup goaltender, and I might be able to swing a 5th-rounder this year and a 2nd-rounder next year. Buffalo, what do you think? Value's a bit too much. Just a 2nd next year? Rejected. Ooh, really? Really? Now, again, we do have 2 first-round picks this year thanks to Winnipeg, or 2 extras thanks to Winnipeg and Arizona. We also have the Jets 2nd. So I can afford to say give up the Toronto 5th this year that they are interested in to get that 2nd next year. Buffalo, what do you think? Still rejected. Really? With those values? Shit. All right. Well, I guess, I doubt you have a prospect that really works for me. You're kind of the perfect team. I almost don't even want to look elsewhere. I guess we're going to have to go for 3rds. We'll go for a 3rd this year. You would have thought with those values, that 2nd-round pick would have been close. I'm not exactly ready to give up on that yet, though. Hold on. Is there anybody else that you're interested in that isn't a part of my immediate future? Sebastian Repo made it up to an 81. That's not bad. I don't plan on trading him, actually. I'd much rather keep him. And Kravinen, who's unsigned, is up to an 80. Good Lord. Good Lord. He started the season at, what, like a 70-something? That is huge for the sake of the development of that. They do want Mikko Koivu as well. They have too many skaters, though. I don't really want to give up on the 2nd-round pick. I really want that 2nd-round pick. How about a 5th from the Leafs? And we'll also give you a nice shiny 7th. Is that enough? All right, Buffalo. You know what? Again, you're the perfect team to get this deal done with. I will gladly take 2 third-round picks. There's no way that works, right? No. Oh, God forbid you. All right, cool. I really wish they'd just say that in the first place. That would be great. Dallas is a winning team that wants Rinne. Do they need a goaltender? No, they do not. They have James Reimer. Is there another team where this makes sense? Anybody that's interested in them? Tampa works. We'd have to take back a contract. They do technically need a backup goaltender, although, why do they have all of that garbage signed? Oh my God, if that doesn't just showcase how bad the AI GMs can be, I don't know what does. Tampa's not going to work. If Vancouver doesn't work, I don't think we really have a match here to get anything for Rinne. They need another goalie, but they don't need him. So we are we're kind of without a luck. We're kind of out of luck. Up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, one might say. And we say Schitt's Creek on Global or whatever the hell station that's on in Canada. Damn it. Oh, Eugene Levy, what a guy you are. I think we're kind of screwed here. I think we're kind of screwed. So Pekka Rinne will be staying. I get the ability to trade Koivu and Rinne this season, and in the end, I'm not trading either of them. That sounds about right, doesn't it, in terms of my luck? I think so. We are going to, of course, leave that one prospect unsigned for the remainder of the year, but it's nice to know that we have a little bit more help coming next season. So we'll see how the rest of this year goes. The Tank Bowl against Los Angeles, we lose that as well. Good to see, and it's a damn shame that Koivu's career is going to end like this, but again, he had no trade value at that point. And then you look at Rinne, and there were just so few teams where it actually made sense to try and trade him to. Of course, I wanted to trade him to a team that actually wanted him to maximize his value, and then Buffalo, I hate that. I hate that aspect of this game. That should be if we trade for this guy, we have to put this guy on waivers, so we don't want to do it. That should be the first thing that they mention. The very first. It shouldn't be, the values don't work out. It's like, no, just flat out say, we don't want this guy because we'd have to put this other dude on waivers. In which case, why do they have interest in Pekka Rinne in the first place? They probably shouldn't. Right, EA? Right. Let's work on that trade logic for next year, please. I'm begging you. I don't know what else to tell you. 32, 45, and 5 is what I will tell you, though. That is our final record on the season. By the way, Helsinki ended up winning 31 games, which is commendable. All things considered, we finish dead last in our division, and I would expect at least in the bottom 3 for the regular season. Dead last. Beautiful. Where the hell? Actually, that's the Metro. Whoops. Dead last? Not dead last. 5 points clear of Los Angeles. You absolute scrubs. You absolute scrubs. Goals for per game, second lowest in the league. How bad was LA? Goals against, we averaged not the highest. Not at all, which is pretty nice. Our defense and goaltending actually held up quite nicely. So that's good to see. In terms of how we performed this year, Capo Caco at 57 points, Simon Taval at 41, Koivu with 41 as well, in what is probably going to be his final season. You look at someone like Sebastian Repo stepping up this year, 20 goals, not too bad. One of, I believe, just 2 to hit that mark this year. Indeed, he was. Armia with 19 on the season. Defensively, Nudivara outproduced Risto. That is so weird. I don't understand. Ranta with a 907. Rinne was phenomenal this year. So hot right now in a year where he'll probably retire. Pekka Rinne should have been the starter, and I'm regretting that Ranta contract just a little bit. At least my ability to not be able to trade them, as the top goaltender this year is going to be Lundqvist more than likely. Anderson might sneak away. Anderson ended up in New York, Lundqvist in Detroit. Again, there was no fantasy draft in this, so that is incredibly odd. Amongst defensemen, Ekman Larsson led the way, the only guy to break 70. And amongst the forwards, oh my God, Ovechkin and Sagan just went off. Kyler Yamamoto put up 91 points, playing alongside Connor McDavid. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Anything can happen, kids. Wahlstrom is probably going to be the Rookie of the Year, although I would give it to a man whose name we shall not mention, because he's not on our team like he should be. Look at the Finnish talent in there, though. Oh, God. I want them all to be on our team. And maybe, eventually, they just might be. So overall, not a bad season for us. The free agent signings backfire in terms of being able to trade them, or at least having logical trades to be there. Question is now, and the same question it has been at the end of every season, and that is, where will our lottery luck fall? Hopefully on the right side of things. We need another high-up pick. This is the last draft with real-world talent being involved. So I'm pretty sure, in terms of non-computer-generated talent, meaning players that I would have added to the game or players that are already in, that Brad Lambert is available to us. There he is. There is also Joakim Kamel. Not bad. So we have 2 decent options. Brad Lambert is half Canadian, we'll say, of dual citizenship, but he's Finnish, so he's available, which is great. Hopefully, though, Kamel is there, and Salvador Persaud is very obviously computer-generated. So as long as we have a pick in the top 5, we're going to be adding somebody half-decent. If we do not end up with a pick in the top 5, there is a decent chance of us either trading down or outright using that pick. Hello, though, Kippersoft. Or outright using that pick to go out and get a bigger named player. So we'll see what happens in that regard. It all comes down to whether or not we end up with a top selection. It'll be entirely based upon that. And of course, I'll take a look as well at the letter grades for those top 2, just in case we end up being able to choose either. The decision will be yours. The Philadelphia Flyers won the Stanley Cup, so the world's going to hell in a handbasket. That's right, I said it, Flyers fans. Deal with it. We will take a look, though, at the Cup-winning team, how they got there, the awards, and we'll cap off this episode with the lottery. A little bit longer of an episode than I expected. Winnipeg loses in 7 games to the Flyers. The Calder Cup went to the San Diego Gulls. Man, Philly almost pulled off the double. Carter Hart, I'm sure, was leading the way. Although, did they not sign Vasi in this run? I can never quite remember. Drew Couturier, JVR, no new names there outside of Marco Kapanen, which absolutely breaks my heart. Goaltender Andrei Vasilevsky. They did sign him. That's right. Couldn't remember if that was in this series or a different one. Meant to check the awards. That's okay. We'll get to it eventually. Eventually. And by eventually, I mean right now. So year 1, it goes to Vegas. Year 2, St. Louis. Year 3, Washington. Now here in year 4, the Philadelphia Flyers. The Art Ross goes to Ovechkin for the 3rd time in 4 years in the series, as does the Hart. The Norris goes to OEL for the first time in the series. The Calder does go to Wahlstrom. Conn Smythe to Vasilevsky. The Vezina to Henrik Lundqvist, which is just wonderful. Masterton to Logan Stanley. To Selke to Ryan O'Reilly. Again, Ted Lindsay to Ovechkin. And the Rocket Richard to Ovechkin. Down in the AHL, Peyton Krebs put up the most points. Weaver was the league MVP, as well as scoring the most goals. Sharov was the top rookie. Best defenseman was Cale Makar. Best goaltender, Jimmy Howard. And I think it's Adam Hushka was the top, or the MVP of the playoffs, I should say. I think his name's Adam. I cannot remember for the life of me. Let's find out. Do we have a little bit of lottery luck for the very first time? Not for the very first time, but boy, does it feel like it. Oh, God. We should end up with Lambert more than likely. 4th isn't all that bad. We're not desperate to trade up to number 1. It could have been worse. We should end up with Lambert. Maybe we end up with Kamel if something goes right for us. I wanted to take a look here, though, at the jump. So Repo with a great amount of development. Koivunen with a solid amount of development as well. He's going to be a great addition to the top 6 heading into next year. Heinola up by 16. And then down in the system, Kervainen with some crazy developments. All in all, a pretty good season. Kuokkanen up to a 73. We're looking pretty good. I gotta be honest. I don't hate this. I think if we play our cards right, should be contenders sooner rather than later. Have Rinne and Koivu called it a day. Koivu retires. Filppula retires. Bergeron retires in Vancouver. I need to go wash my eyes out with bleach. Goaltenders. Rinne stays. Will we resign him? Probably not, because again, that trade value will only go down by that much more. So more than likely we let him walk. Lucic and Krejci both retire and become scouts as well, by the way. That's very, very weird. But it did happen. So for now, we are done here. We go through just about a full calendar year. Can't say it was the most exciting in terms of moves or anything like that. Although really, if you think about it, it was pretty good for us. We signed Nudivaro. We signed Rasmus Ristolainen. We got a good amount of prospect development, and we didn't get totally screwed over by the draft lottery. All in all, I'm liking this. I'm digging this. And again, we have 3 first-round picks this year. The 29th, though, and the 31st. So yes, perhaps we look to make a move to move up and perhaps sneak away with 2 top finish draft picks rather than just 1. We'll find out in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. I'll see you then. In the next one, that is. Goodbye. Jesus, what an outro.